afternoon, our viewers, or good evening, wherever you may be watching us from. This is a show that we shall be bringing to you on a weekly basis called Woman Arise, a show where we shall be discussing women in politics, their contribution in governance issues, as well as inspire new women, emerging leaders, young women, the women in politics, in a field which we must be able to contribute to as women in this region, Uganda, in this country, Uganda, as well as in the Great Lakes region. And in this show, we'll be inspiring women by bringing on board an excellent example, role model, an inspiration for many to host such a person and hear their story, their success, and also challenges in the life of politics, as well as hope that through that story, we can inspire many young women. We are in the space called Civic Space, a TV dedicated to freedom of speech, expression, and I know through this space we shall be able to achieve much more. I want to thank them for giving us this opportunity and this space. And we are bringing you this show from Royal Suits in Bugolobi. With me on the set for this second edition is still the same guest that we had in the last edition. And in the last show, we wanted to hear where this woman was coming from. The one that we know as a woman of steel, the tough talker, the great orator, an exemplary, a rare breed of women, a woman leader of her time. And we are privileged to have her again in this second edition. But joined with her is the same team, one who is a mentee who is learning from her and learning from other women, a new emerging leader. On my left, on the other side, also there is another person who is aspiring. I would like them to introduce themselves, and then we dive right into this discussion. On my extreme right, there is Harriet Sebufu. Sebufu has contested in Masaka district for Woman Member of Parliament. Say hello to our guests. And
hello, our viewers. Yes. Glad to be with you once again.
Okay, you're welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you,
and Honourable Susan Mugabi. I know this one is a politician. She must say something.
Hello, our viewers. I'm Honourable Susan Mugabi, the woman representative for Uvuma District. I'm just so much super excited being part of this second edition and ready to inspire and be inspired
as well
from the co-host and our guest for today. Thank you.
You're welcome, Honourable Susan. She is very young in Parliament, a first timer at 30, and so she will need a lot of inspiration from Honourable Cecilia Ogwal and others who have been there more than 1 or 2 times. But also she will be a point of inspiration to other young women that it is possible to make it in life, but also in this murky waters of politics, women can rule and dominate, as we will be hearing from Honourable Cecilia Ogwal, who is our chief guest tonight. And so to introduce her, I will do it because I'm junior in protocol, but all protocol observed. Honourable Cecilia, for many of you know her. She is, what I admire from her is her courage, is her tongue, the tongue of power, and also her skills of public speaking. Those are the things that drew me to Honourable Cecilia, and I asked her to be my mentor. And she has done that, she still does it, and I'm still learning more from her.
From above.
Yes. So I would like to welcome her to the show. I did introduce her, but I can say that Honourable Cecilia Ogwal has been around for 7 terms in Parliament. Can you imagine that? It is not easy at all. There are very few members of Parliament right now who are in her league, who have stayed for longer. And as it is, it's very difficult to win consecutive elections. The likes of Honourable Cecilia are the likes of Honourable Kotogong, Honourable Kadaga, Honourable Tinka Simire and Sechkuba are now joining that league, and Honourable Abdu Katuntu. There are very few now, and Honourable Elijah Okupa. That can show you how difficult it is to keep coming back. But she's been around for 7 terms. We don't want to miss that story, certainly, because many women can learn from her. And that's why we had her for the first to give us her story so we can inspire many young women who would like to come on board that it's possible. So Honourable Cecilia Ogwal, today would like to discuss your life in the mainstream politics. You discussed with us the issue, your contribution for the return of multi-party politics. As a woman, you exhibited your courage. You were at the forefront when our country was experiencing that transition from multi-party politics, even the takeover of government and transition into NRM government. You have seen it all. But would like you to inspire a woman who is watching in line with your politics, the way you have done it. We've seen you're a woman of many coats, many colors. In these 7 terms, you have been in different political parties, but you have stood your ground. I would like to start from there, but before I go right into that area, there is an area of your life we've not captured around balancing the family and this great task. Many of us as women, we struggle around that. Would like to hear from you as a senior woman how you've been able to balance your roles in that direction. Management of the family and management of career, and balancing the two so that none of them suffers. That's an area would like to hear from Senior Honourable Cecilia, and then we shall hear from her on her mainstream contribution. You're welcome, Honourable, to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm honored again to be with you, viewers. It's always a blessing to share my experience with the younger generation. It has not been an easy journey, and as you have heard before, to break through as a child and become matured into a housewife is a struggle for a woman. It's not that easy. We go through a lot of battles, we go through a lot of temptation, but as I've shared before, it was a difficult decision for me to take whether I should pursue my academic career, having distinguished myself as a good student at the university. Everybody expected me to go into the world of academia. But I had to decide which was the best. And for me, I thought being a practical professional, probably I would be able to touch many lives than be limited to the work of a lecturer. And therefore, my choice was after a long period of prayer and consultation. So I decided that I would get married, but continue with my career as a young administrator in the field of management or corporate governance. And definitely balancing between your work and your marriage is not easy. And that's where it is like walking on a slippery ground. Because, and forgive me, I've always referred to my husband very boldly and with a lot of courage, that he has remained one of my children. In fact, I call him my firstborn. and I'm happy, that he has taken it in good spirit. Why am I saying that? It's because the husband, who is an adult, who knows what he wants, when he gets married, it's like somebody has to manage him. Here I am with a young children. Young family. Young children. Some running to nursery school, some primary school, and this one. And you have to run after each and every one of them to make sure they're ready, they put on their uniform, their books, and what have you.
And not just
pack them in the vehicle.
Wow.
And you take them to distribute them to wherever, to the various schools. So you are a woman is tense. You have to make sure in the morning you wake up early, the breakfast is ready, children are bathed. So that is the lifestyle of a woman. And I have gone through it.
Wow.
Let nobody think that houseboy or house girls did that for. Yes, you would have a house girl. Yes, you can have houseboys, but your family is managed by you, the mother. You must make sure that your children, when they're going to school, the buttons of their shirts are fixed. A house girl will not look at that. The shoes are not torn. A house girl cannot see that. So it is you to make sure your children are well managed. But it is surprising that even your husband, what has it was like it was like a daily call. That every time when I'm now almost settled in the car waiting for him to come, he said, I can't find my tie.
And my hanky.
Oh my.
Where can I find my hanky? You know, that kind of thing. Now, really, the children have been saying, I can't find my socks, I can't find my shoes. Now, the husband, who should be helping me chase these children, is also crying for my attention. He cannot find his tie, or he cannot find his hanky. So you can see a woman really works under an intense pressure. And that is in the house. Now, when you go to work, you must know that your work colleagues expects a minus, not a plus. Yes. That is like, mind you, when I entered into the office of into the field of management, I had to make sure I was as good as my male colleagues or better.
Yes.
So, but they would want to expect you to say, you know, I'm sorry I'm late, you know, a child was sick. That's what they expect.
Yeah.
But try to avoid that. Try to avoid that. I always made sure I was always the first in the office, if I could make it.
At 7 o'clock.
So much so that if I happen to be late, now they know either the car broke down or something has happened. But they know that my work style is that I will be early in the office. That is what every woman must try to do.
That is so powerful.
It's very, very important. And it's, yeah, the management, the time management, the management of your home, and you should make sure, and personal management, because while you are taking care of the dressing of your husband, the children and whatnot, how dressed are you?
Properly dressed.
You must also be dressed like me. In the corporate world, I must be different. I must be decently dressed.
Corporate.
You know, because you are supervising other work colleagues.
Cecilia, you must know that our women now in the corporate world, that is what affects them greatly. They battle with how to excel in the corporate world, even in any other area. And yet these roles, maybe in your recommendations, there could be some, you know, things that we could do now, given that we are in a new era where there is technology and other things. We can actually better manage our families now, because you can impose those roles which a maid used to do. Now the machines take over that. Isn't that a new improvement? Can we do away with yes.
Yeah, well, you see, I don't know whether I've shared with you this experience where at the time I was getting married, everybody thought educated woman would not manage the home. Actually, they sort of rated you a failure before you have even started.
In marriage, yeah.
She can't manage. Look at her hair, the way it is combed. You know that, you know, we used to hot comb our hair. And they would say, can Sasa hair really carry a pot of water? So from a presidential perspective, you already judged a failure. So it's you now to prove that they are the ones who are wrong. And I had to prove that my education has rated me as if Mr. Ogwal has married 10 women. Yes.
Value addition.
If that's what they mean, that my Mr. Ogwal marrying one woman, she would be the daughter-in-law would be able to carry water, cook, you know, that kind of thing. So now I have to do things to prove to them that this Mr. Ogwal, if he had married one woman, you would not have got what I'm giving you. So for you to get what you are getting now, in the perspective you are thinking, Mr. Ogwal would have probably married 5 or 10 women.
Yeah, to achieve
Because when I went in there with our educated modification, which is at that time was rudimental, but now is improved.
Yeah.
You know, I have a vehicle with a big boot, so I had to carry water in it, and made sure that in my village home, in my mother-in-law's house, where there's no running water, I can carry a lot more water
than one woman.
than 5 or 6 or 10 women would have.
Oh, yes.
Yes, because I'm carrying about 10 jerry cans at that time, tins of water at once, you know. So that means 10, 20 liters at a go. How many women would carry that? So that is something you have to analyze. And then, of course, I make sure I've come with rice, I've come with sugar, I've come with what? Not only for my mother-in-law, but also for my community around me, so that they all feel they all know. I think our daughter-in-law has arrived.
They must feel the difference.
They must feel the difference. And when it is Christmas, and I'm not there, there is no Christmas in the village. Because when I go, I have to make sure every auntie has got a piece of gummies, you know, and some sugar, some rice, some salt, you know, that kind of. Then there is Christmas.
Wow.
You know, so that is how educated woman has value, and that's why people started realizing that actually educated woman is not all that bad.
Yes.
You know, she has done this, she has done that, and of course, within a short time, when I got married, my husband was living in a normal boyish kind of shelter. You know, for us by tradition, you don't stay in your mother's house, but he built something quite rudimental. But then you come with this mind, you know, let's build something better. You know, so that also shows you, would a village woman do that? No. But at least this educated woman has been able to add value to her son, and now we are able to do this. We are able to. So that is where a woman has to make sure that, one, for you to balance, you must be determined. I want to be a wife, and I'm not marrying a man for his money. I'm not marrying a man for his job. I'm not marrying a man for his status. I'm marrying a man because I want to have a family.
Yes.
And I want to make sure I manage that family well with my husband, including my husband. And more importantly, sometimes it can happen that you are more educated than your husband.
Yes. Or more money. You have more money.
Let's start with education.
Okay.
You are more educated than your husband. You know, you are a master degree holder. Probably your husband is just a diploma degree. So are you going to constantly remind him, excuse me, I'm saying this because don't you remember I'm a graduate and you are not?
Wow.
You married a man. And one thing I've always told young women when they are in every marriage ceremony, I've told young wives when they are getting married, take care of your husband's ego.
Has that sunk deep?
It's the secret. It's the secret of staying together. And I've always told the people, even when I say I don't eat chicken, why? It was supposed to be our parents, our mothers' honor for their husbands. So even if I'm educated, I'm in a different generation, can I also honor my husband by not eating chicken? Why not?
That was a sacrifice.
So
Okay.
I do that.
Yes.
I don't eat chicken to show that I honor him. The question is, how will he honor me?
In return.
It's a give and take. So I also ask him, I don't eat chicken for you. So what what are you foregoing?
Oh my. I don't know what's happening with the current men now, but we certainly do know things are changing. The chicken is being eaten by women now, and I think many other things are changing. But the power relations in our generation are still there. For many of us as politicians, when we are getting elected, certainly there are questions which are asked when you're coming into politics. Yes. Thank you, Honourable, for sharing that story about your life. But we are picking from you that family management influences a lot. How you run your family influences a lot on how you run your public affairs as well. the family, the politics, the career will be largely influenced by how you manage your family. So I'd like to move now to Parliament. Yes, there is a smart woman called Cecilia at home, very smart and organized at home. But also in politics, we see that because your impact can certainly tell how you are running your affairs in Parliament. Would like you to share a little bit for someone who is aspiring, how you have managed to stay afloat for these 7 terms of Parliament. First on the floor,
Yes.
how you are excellent in what you do on the floor, but also in terms of constituency, because by the time you stay that much, it means you're managing your constituency very, very well. How are you managing these 2 areas? Just a few experiences.
I want to say like this, that I'm a driver of 2 vehicles on 2 lanes. It's a very interesting scenario for you to imagine. I'm driving 2 cars on 2 lanes, left lane and right lane. Because I am family rooted in my profession. In the corporate governance, I don't want to disappear from there. It must remain part of me. And I must be seen to be visible in the corporate world, okay? Now, in the political world, I have made a conscious decision to be in the political world. So I must make sure I stay on that lane. And I must also make sure that the 2 lanes, my corporate world and my business world, don't clash.
And they continue.
They all move.
Wow.
One may be a bit behind, you know, but they are both moving and one driver. That is the life of a woman. And you must make sure where there is a mechanical problem on one wheel, on one vehicle, you have to fix it. That is why I had a problem in politics. When I became aggressive and like a lioness fighting for the children, I was consciously fought to weaken me in the corporate governance. Because I was a businesswoman in my own right and done a lot of investment. And I wanted to encourage our own population to be agro-based, you know, grow a lot of grains and so on. So I'd set up an industrial grain processing plant, which grew actually to being almost the best in the country. And I was running it well, because I don't run it to get money. I run it just to make something grow, and that is my vision. And so when they realized that this woman is too hot in politics, it must be because she's independent, because she has money.
Financial muscle.
She's trying to display her financial muscle. They hit me hard on my businesses. And actually, indeed, they collapsed. They did not collapse to give me embarrassment, because what I think the regime wanted to do was to push me to financial crisis, so that I would be declared bankrupt. And the law requires that when you are bankrupt, you cannot contest for a post.
Office.
Yeah. And so I think that was their goal. So I quickly realized that. So while they were dragging me there, I was also using my wit in order to make sure I get a team of people to team up with us financially, restructure, and have a smooth transfer from my ownership to some other. Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. To the dismay of the people, the forces that were fighting me. So I still went through the election.
Wow.
And still won with the financial disaster, because I'm not interested in that. I'm interested to make sure that this lane also continues moving. My political lane should not collapse, because the business lane has collapsed. So the business lane will fix, don't worry. But this one should not collapse. So in other words, if you're going to politics for money, you are finished.
Wow.
Yes. Because because you must know there are forces always against you. In the constituency, even in parliament, there are forces against you. And if you are going to say, let me get the favor of the speaker, so that the speaker can give me, you know, this and that. Or let me get the favor of the political bosses so that I can, you're going to be injured. Because those people also have their interest. So you must know, but be yourself. Listen, for me, they can, in the political lane, they have offered right from the time when Yusuf Lule came to power. Do you know at that time, for Yusuf Lule to remember of Mrs. Ogwal to be appointed a minister, I was also surprised. You know, but I was one of the women to be appointed by Yusuf Lule. I said no.
Wow.
Because, yes, how was I going to make a contribution?
In the government?
In the government of that time. Okay. I mean, how would I shape by shape the environment, shape the policy, shape, you know, in that kind of. So you must make a decision. You are not falling for the job. You have to make a difference. You must show that as a woman, it is not about the title of being a minister. I must be a woman. And I must make a change, show that I can make a change where I am, a positive change. So, as far as title is concerned, I'm out of it in my politics. Okay? And so, you have seen along the way, even where they said things became very hot between me and my brother, the president, and there were times, why don't you pick up this job? And I would say no.
No. Or vice president, we heard you were to be appointed.
I would say no. Why? Because would I change the situation in northern Uganda where people were in camp if I had become a vice president?
Okay.
Would I change the situation as it was on human rights if I became a vice president? So I would be a disgrace. And even my career as a politician would be sinking down. And I would not want to be a laughing stock where I'm just like a display flower vase in the sitting room.
It's always about your cause.
Yes.
Staying true to yourself and staying
What
true
is
to
your
cause.
calling? Why am I here in parliament? Why am I there in the opposition? Why have I remained in the opposition? You know, the government found me in Uganda People's Congress and at a top organ level, okay? A woman. But at the same time, why has everybody changed their political parties? And I did not want to change. Even when people thought I'd changed from UPC to being independent, I was pushed there. I did not want to change. I loved my party. I fought for it. I have mentored almost everybody you see in politics now, like the Katuntus. I did not only mentor women. The Katuntus, they will tell you, without mom, I would not be here.
Okay.
You know, they will tell you. So these are my cadres. These are the people. I love my party. I love the former president because he made me who I am. So and I'm associated with the ideological guidance that the party provided. So I think you as a woman, you must define what you want, who you are, what you want, where you want to achieve. And then in the corporate world, what can you do for women? I was chairman of Uganda Development Bank, okay? Uganda Development Bank, when I took it there, you know, during Amin's time, it was all down and so on. I had to restructure it. I had to reshape it. And history in Uganda Development Bank will tell you that I had to invite for the first time Price Waterhouse to come and audit the bank so that we start from a strong financial foundation. So I was conscious that unless the system is right, you cannot achieve anything in running any institution, any commercial institution. So that's what I was able to do. But I was conscious of the fact I am a woman. And because of that, I found they are male-dominated. All heads of department, women. I mean, men, no woman. So as a chair of the board, I asked the management, do you have women graduates? They said yes. I want to see their file. I didn't know who they were. So they were asking why I was seeing their file. And they gave me 2 files. File of Saida Bomba.
Wow.
And the file of, actually they gave me 3 files. Saida Bomba, Victoria Sekitoliko, and Christine Kwoba. Christine Kwoba is now the late.
Oh, sorry.
Is now the late Christine Kwoba. So they gave me their files. I went through it at home, and I was serious. I went through it at home. Nowhere in the, and when they join the bank, because the file will tell you all, when they join the bank, what is their qualification and so on. If you have done anything wrong, it would be there. Because there would be a letter
Systems
warning
and
you
all
for
that,
being
yeah.
late, for not being a performer and so on. But there's nothing there. But I was very curious about one of the women, Victoria Sekitoliko. She had been in the bank for 12 years and never got a promotion. So I
We're
started.
actually hoping to host Victoria.
Yeah, so I asked,
Actually, yeah.
and when she comes, please ask her that question. So I said, but who is this woman? How comes she has not been promoted for 12 years? And then the management told me, oh, she's not serious about her work and so on. Or why haven't you warned her? Why haven't you dismissed her?
Yes.
So I told her, and is there anything wrong? Is she performing well? Yes. I said, this lady deserves 2
Promotion.
steps, 2 promotions. And if she comes, she will tell you she
Wow.
earned 2 promotions without, I never met her face to face. I dealt with her file.
Wow.
Yes.
So ladies,
And listen, and with Koba, she was doing extremely well in her profession as accountant. But in her department, is a man from Tanzania, from the north, who was the head of the department. But there's this lady who is also working very hard.
very hard.
So I also used my own experience in my profession. And I said, this department must be restructured because we are now dealing with these foreign loans which come in, and that is handled also by the Department of Finance. And of course, you have to run the affairs of the financial management of the institution. So there are 2 separate fields of finance. Let's separate it structurally. Organogram must spell it out, which was done. So when it was done, Koba headed one department, and that male king of theirs headed one. Yes. So I had sorted out the second woman.
Being a problem solver.
Then Koba, eventually, I think she headed the administration, something like that. So by the time I left the bank, of course, when the NRM came to power, they sacked me. Okay, not sacking, but discontinued me because I'm a member of the opposition and so on, and they wanted to fix the.
They missed out
Yeah.
your services.
So as far as I'm concerned, I left the bank different, restructured, and I look at it with a lot of pride. You know, where I found the bank, where I left it, and I'm sure if today I interface, unfortunately, Koba is not there anymore.
Wow.
And of course, I must also tell you, when I was in the bank, I used to go frequently to dialogue with the World Bank because
There is
we
a
were
question
there.
I'm itching to ask you because now you raise it in that discussion, the impact of women. You know, when we join spaces, we are picking from you, well, you are being focused on your cause when you get to the leadership positions, but also changing the space you find
Correct.
and impacting it. And we are itching to understand from your perspective if you think the value addition women have, or the more women join politics, whether there is more value addition in those spaces. Is there, because right now the discussion is around women have overstayed in affirmative state, they are not making any impact in that. Do you believe our coming into politics has impact or has a change that it comes with as women politicians? As you wind up on that
Of course,
discussion.
the presence of a woman in a political office is very, very important, or any office of leadership
Yes.
at all, is of great importance. And I beg you, allow me to close the role which I played, and because there is something you need to pick there.
Absolutely.
You don't need to know a woman in order to pull that woman up. In our struggle, it must be like a chain link. It must be like a chain link. Because as you pull this chain up, you are pulling even the one behind.
Behind that one.
You know, so we all move together. Don't expect to be a woman there and there's nothing to link you
To
down.
another woman.
Are we together?
Yes.
The chain link philosophy, to me, is very important for a woman. And I'm telling you, you don't have to know who the woman is, but make a change.
Wow.
And when I was in the Uganda Development Bank, as I told you, I used to dialogue with the World Bank because we were dealing with loans for various programs. Now, when I was in New York, I got to know of women bankers. I think you know because you were in Owopa. Now, women bankers was introduced to me by Mrs. Dokolo, who became the head of Barclays Bank in Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah, so she shared with me this information, and I pursued it. So when I went to New York, I was able to look for these women bankers. They gave me all the documents, and we started this thing. But because for me, I'm more for politics, I decided to hand over these documents to the people that would follow it up well, like Mrs. Ukwako, Justice Mary Maitum, you know. These are the people who are in they could pursue, and Christine Koba, you know. These are the people who would take up the issue of the banking concept. But for me, I was able now to link up my village of Uganda with no knowledge of women bankers to develop a bank that would understand the women unique problem and set up a banking system for them.
Wow. Wow.
That is something I had in mind if I could do that.
Wow.
And they started. I don't think they even remember where they came. I don't know how far they have gone. But as far as I'm confirmed, I was able to make it a reality. So that is what a woman would do.
Yeah.
If you are a woman with no purpose, you not do anything. Now, if I was a woman with no purpose, there's no way I would have looked and found this thing called the women bankers that would take care of our unique problem of the women in entrepreneurship. So that is one of the areas which I wanted you to take up. And of course, you were raising the other concern about the women, the role of the women in politics generally. Yes.
Is there any change? Is there any impact? Are we useful, or we should just, you know?
Well, you brought it even the affirmative action bit of it.
Yeah, the affirmative action.
Actually, there is an issue today, Honourable Cecilia, that women are in power, but they don't have power. So when you're in power and you don't have the power to change things, so what is our relevance?
I would say, and I think she can attest to that, and she has joined in now to confirm that it is a good thing to empower us to come up, because now you can see that a woman can stand up and show leadership even at the rural level.
Yes.
And I want to thank actually the UN agencies to have engaged the entire world in this decade of the world,
women's decade.
You are the women's decade, because that was able to put pressure on every government, on the member state, to ensure that they domesticated the program and made sure that every woman everywhere in the world felt a change that the government is concerned.
Wow.
And I think for us as women, the wife of the president then, Miria Obote, is the one who led the delegation to Nairobi for that conference and represented us. And our speech was very, very powerful. It was her speech that burst forth.
1995.
Yes, that burst forth Women's Day.
Yes.
To be celebrated. Yes, that's how we got the Women's Day. So you can see. So you can see. It's not only in politics. Even the wife of a president can make a change, because you must be there for a purpose. You know. So a woman being in politics is very, very important. And when you talk about affirmative action can help. But it must also be well defined. You know, when we came in as women, we used to have indirect election where women would be elected by electoral college. And because of that, very many women who are capable were being left behind. But we had to take a position to push for universal suffrage for women for the women's seat. It was originally
electoral colleges.
Electoral college, but we had to fight it in order to change it to a universal suffrage. You know, but it was a fight, because I remember when they were rejecting that motion, and a lady from West Nile stood up and said, I'm very surprised that when the child of my co-wife dies, me who is a co-wife is crying louder
Than the mother.
than the mother. What has gone wrong? Something is wrong. Now, we women are saying we don't want indirect election. We don't want electoral colleges. It doesn't give us an opportunity to compete fairly.
Favorably.
You know, the government agencies are behind certain candidates. So we want a fair deal. Let's go for universal service. How come the men are pushing us?
Cry more.
Crying that we should remain. And they say, oh, you know, women are still weak and so on. Let me be the one to plead for it. For us, we have decided that we want a universal suffrage method. How come the men are pleading that we remain on the electoral college basis?
So you agree that we still need more women?
Exactly. So the women, we still need it. We still need affirmative action because not all of us have the spine to stand on our own. But yet, as you have seen, that only 22 women have registered the heads of state. In fact, I went with her to, what is the name of the country?
Lithuania.
In the Lithuania.
Yeah.
We went to Lithuania.
The Global Women's Leadership
The Global
Conference.
Women Leadership, and we had it in Rwanda here. So we are recognizing these women in leadership. And in Lithuania, the head of state was a woman, you know. And she's now the chair of all these global women in leadership. That's why we were invited, you know, for that thing. So the women in leadership is very, very important. But you must have your spine.
Impact, yes.
You must have your credential. I don't want women to be underrated for using affirmative action. For example, I've come to realize, and I actually sat down with this former speaker, and I said, do these men realize that actually affirmative action seat is more powerful than the constituency seat? Because I represent the district. And because I represent the district, I'm in charge of two constituencies. A woman represents the district is in charge of 4 constituencies. Don't you think you are more powerful in touching the lives of the population in the district compared to your male counterpart? Exactly. The only problem, you just need to empower the woman so that she's facilitated to effectively make a change, where deliver in all the 4 or 5 constituencies that the male counterparts have. So you can see that the women have been very patient. They have been running these extra constituencies without complaining. Because every time we complain, they think we don't deserve to ask for facilitation. And yet a woman needs to be facilitated to reach every corner of the district. So whether district or constituency, a woman's impact must be felt.
Actually, I'm of the view that we have outgrown affirmative action now. We need to encourage more women, those who are viewing, to even contest in the general seat. Because as it is, the woman runs. Yes, you experience a lot of trauma through the district seat because you spend much more, double than the male. You campaign double. You are outworking yourself. So I think affirmative action, Honourable Cecilia, is now a burden to women. And we need to begin to rethink and to push women more also into the direct seats. I don't know what thoughts you, honourable colleagues, you're having, but I think that we are inspiring Honourable Susan a lot here, and one who has not come. Honourable Cecilia, you have not dealt with the constituency management because we want more women to maintain their seats. We want more to join the political, arena. And so for that woman who is interested in maintaining her seat and getting that seat, how do you manage constituency relations? Yeah, because that's a very critical area. I have lost an election recently, as you may be, of course, in the know. But there is that area of management of the people. And that is very critical for every woman politician. How have you been doing that? What is your experience in that? Yes, with the MP and the leader.
Well, you see, the problem is rural-based. And therefore, in my politics, I'm community and rural-based. Everything that is rural and common attracts me. So you find me naturally just finding myself sitting on a mat with the women and discussing our rural things. So you find that I identify myself with them because the majority are rural. And therefore you find that I'm mainly concerned about the plight of the widows, of the orphans, you know. So I always carry with me some components of bursary for women. I mean for the
Families,
for the orphans,
okay.
for the orphans.
Yes.
And then I must have community programs for the women. Because when you put women in groups, and this thing of circles has now come. But for me, I started the rural program for women long time ago, right from Lira municipality. So you must identify yourself with their suffering. You know, the women, they lack opportunity to break into the money generating sector. How do you consciously take them there? And they're ignorant, they don't know anything. So you must put them in a group, train them in financial literacy, and train them how to remain in groups, how they can help each other. And let me tell you, in my area is called Polichap. This circles thing. For us, it started a long time ago. They started from the churches, you know, after the service, you go and drink their tea, grandma's tea there, under the tree. Very nicely made. So those people who go to church early, that's where they find very nice tea made by our women. But they have made money. At the end of the day, they have gone back home with some money. Others come, you are drinking tea there, and under the other tree, there is porridge. You know, this porridge made of millet flour. So these are ideas you put in. They don't know what to do. But enlighten them, expose them, and guide them. That's all they need. And so what you, the young women, should do, don't think Parliament is where you do your politics. Down there is where you do your politics.
Wow.
Down there is where you do your politics.
Wow.
You know?
But you must be able to balance even with the flow.
Exactly. I mean, of course, the thing is, you know, these people, by the way, they feel very happy. Yeah, they feel very happy. They feel very happy, particularly now that you have, you know, things have changed. They have television. When these old women see you on TV, they say, "Hey, that's Monicah Amoding. Oh, it's good I voted for her." And you, some of the things you do can even touch your opponents. I remember in one of the things, because I help in this bursary scheme. I don't determine I want only for my party or whatnot. I help all the orphans. I just pick the best performing children, and I give them some little money to enter the secondary school. Now, in one of the cases, the child that was picked, actually two children who are picked. One is from the chairman of NRM. The other one was the child of the mobilizer of NRM in another cause. So when I went for campaign, that chairman of NRM insisted, "Please allow me to say something." His hand was up. And people were stopping him because they knew he's a stubborn NRM. He's the one who's always abusing mama and whatnot. Yeah, they didn't want him to speak, but the man was all. So I insisted. I said, "No, allow the man to say. Even if he's abuser." I said, "Let him abuse me because I'm, after all." Yeah. So the man was allowed to say, "Let me tell you, mama, I'm the one who made sure you didn't get votes last time. But do you know what? My brother died. And when my brother died, my child had gone through. My brother's child also went through. And I was supposed to raise school fees for both of them. But do you know, we both go to your scholar bursary. My child would not have entered senior secondary school without your bursary scheme."
Wow.
So really, and you didn't know me, and you even when you chose myself, you didn't know I'm the one who spoiled your votes here. So you can see, do your work for the community. Don't focus so much on this political division. There are people who think, "Let me help my party mobilizer, let me help." But this party mobilizer tomorrow can join another party. Tomorrow can be bribed with a bicycle and will start campaigning for your opponent. Yeah.
That's very true.
We'll start campaigning for your opponent. You help everyone. Don't discriminate.
Wow.
don't discriminate.
We
They
seem to
will be the one
Yeah.
to now promote you because they know your heart and
We
they
seem
know
to be
how you relate.
Racing against time, Honourable Senior, but there's just one item we'd like to hear from you. I know we shall have another conversation with you on many of these things, but I know Susan is speaking, Harriet is speaking, and many people that are watching are picking lessons from your journey, and that will help them. I don't know if there's any thought that you'd like to clarify before we go to the last leg and wind up.
Yeah. When she mentioned that women are managers, if today Nakaziba is here, I hope next time she will bring for us another woman. From Buvuma, she has appeared, but there is a girl she wants to be at LOC5 level. Thank you, Mama Cecilia.
Very, very powerful lessons of sharing, impacting.
And if I would be allowed,
Yeah.
recently we encountered very controversial matter, experience. We had a very controversial experience in Parliament.
In Parliament.
In Parliament. Jacob Olanya, I call him my son, because I actually had to go deep in the village to identify this young man, brilliant young man, lawyer, to participate in the parliamentary politics. Okay?
Under UPC
So everybody knows that, no, under UPC.
Yes, yes.
So everybody knows this is my son, and if you are asked, who are the people you are mentored, that's one of them. You know? And this is my sister here, called Rebecca Kadaga. And earlier on, we had Speciosa Kazibwe. When everybody was saying, let her resign over the dam saga. And I said, but really, can you tell me where Speciosa Kazibwe has actually done something that would deserve her being either sacked or for her to resign? They couldn't. There were other ministers that we had succeeded in removing through the censor.
Oh,
Is it?
censure motion. in
Censor
Parliament.
motion, which we had successfully done. How come this Speciosa Kazibwe, they were putting pressure on to resign? So I told I pulled out. I was a member of the. I've always remembered a member of the position. I said, now politics doesn't work here. It's now women.
It's a women's
So
vote.
it's now women issue. So I said, now, unless all these other men who have also alleged, who are, where we have found them wanting, also resign, don't resign. Let the president pick a pen and sack you. That's what I told her. Don't resign. And don't let anybody put pressure on you. Now, recently, how would you have felt in relation to women issue if I was seen campaigning for a male, okay,
Against a woman.
because he's my son.
Yeah.
Because now the role of a woman goes beyond gender.
Yeah.
So how would you have felt as young legislators, young politicians, seeing me marketing my son against a fellow woman? So now you women will say, oh, I see. So if he's my brother, I can abandon the women, my commitment to
The women's
driving
agenda.
driving women agenda, and then side with the men. So you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
I was trying to tell you I'm being consistent. If Kadaga won, he will win on merit. If Olanya wins, he wins on merit. But I should not be found wanting because I have not been consistent. That is very important.
Very important.
You should not, I mean, I've not done anything, but you cannot say I decampaign Olanya, whatever. No, but I've said, let him win on merit, let Kadaga win on merit. But because of this gender,
Gender factor.
how will the young women, the Susans, look at, but Mrs. Ogwal, how comes you are campaigning for a man? They will now not say your son.
Yes.
They will say you are campaigning for a man against a woman. It will be on record.
Well, and many would have told you that, well, there is another woman in the race as well, so let go of the other and then bring in another. Well, it became a very highly contested discussion. I would like us to wind up quickly because we just have about 5 minutes or less than that to wind up this very good discussion. We've been chatting with Honourable Cecilia Ogwal on her journey, her personal life, and how it can impact other people to be inspired in politics. So I would like to just pick your final thoughts, Mama, on, your thoughts concerning the country, what are some of your thoughts that you know, and also the women's agenda? Those two areas are very passionate in your heart. You're very passionate about them. Would like to hear from you some of the thoughts that you have towards a better Uganda, and, you know, that discussion. What more needs to be done in terms of, you know,
What could she want to see in the future?
where do you want to see Uganda? Where do you want to see the woman? Yes. Thank you very much for helping me in that guidance.
I think until we arrive at a point when we can confidently say we have formulated a critical mass, it would be difficult for us to even think of saying, let's front a woman for presidency. You know? And because of that, a woman will always be used. Have you realized? A woman will always be used, and somebody will always say, I put you there. That is something I've refused in my life. I never want anybody to say, I put you there, therefore.
You must do this.
So until we are able to muscle a critical mass, to market our own woman on merit, and be able to place that woman where we want that woman to be placed, that is when we'll succeed, because we command the majority in the community. But this majority we command, they are spineless. Even we who are in the leadership at the moment, we are spineless. Ideologically, politically, financially, we are still spineless. And therefore, I think what we need to do now, for me, for women, we have to strengthen education of a girl child. You know, what is happening now with teenage pregnancy is crippling you. It's crippling our struggle.
Yeah.
It's crippling our struggle. I mean, of course, you said, oh, sorry, so-and-so's daughter was pregnanted. It is not that man. It is our struggle.
Our daughter, our country.
You have allowed Mrs. Ogwal to be pregnant, and she never entered parliament. That is that Mrs. Ogwal. That woman who got pregnant, that girl who got pregnant at 13 years old, is Ogwal, whom you have decided to encripple. So I think we need to look at things positively in terms of bringing up a girl child. What should we do to make sure that we go beyond just living her on our own until she's at university or whatever, then we start taking care of her. And let me tell you, I'm one of those who has been against government giving the 1.5 point for entering university. Yes. But you missed the best point down there. And that's why for me, my bursary scheme is PLE. Because this is the woman, you will find that a child of a very poor person has performed very well, but cannot get fees to go to O level.
Yeah. Okay.
No opportunity. So start from there. That's where you'll get the best quality. So bottom up, it should be our approach, not up bottom.
Okay.
So education is paramount.
I would like us to wind up, ladies. And for me, with this space, we are hoping that we can inspire you who is watching to join politics. In the next circle of elections, we must be able to have a woman contesting in every constituency in Uganda. That is our target in this election. And so we must be able to work together and inspire each other, encourage each other, coach each other, prepare in advance for that forthcoming election. And that's the purpose for this Woman Arise program. I would like to thank my guests that have been here. I don't know if you have one word in thanks to Honorable, or even a lesson, a take home from Honorable Susan and Harriet. Yes.
Just to thank you, Honorable Cecilia Ogwal. You've left Mr. Lamek Ogwal at home. He misses you. We are sure he ought to be there. Thank you, Mama Muvuma, Honorable Susan Nakazba Mugabi. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, our viewers, the crew. It's all thanks. We thank the Lord for this day.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I even didn't know what to really
You've
say
taken-
because
you've taken a lot.
I even didn't want this
Conversation
show
to
or
end,
conversation
yeah.
to end because
I think there's more we need to get
there's
from her.
we actually need more time because we really want to learn from her, to hear more of her experiences so that we can get to inspire our viewers. But at least I've learned a few statements from her,
Yes.
and I've taken them so seriously. One of them is being cautious when making a decision.
Okay.
It is very important. It is very vital because it makes you
Or breaks. Okay, that's a very good way to end, and I would like to say this has been a very, very enriching discussion. I know that Honourable Cecilia is still with us. We could write 3 books from her life. Yeah. What she has just given us is just a very small, detail from her life, which I know we can get another opportunity to, through writing or any other story, a way to impact someone else. So I'd like to thank you, Mama. Thank you so much for honoring this invitation, being our inaugural guest in this program. And you have already blessed us. I believe this program is going to be able to run every week and impact many women that will be watching.
I want to tell our viewers that every woman watching us, every girl watching us, learn to be a woman of purpose.
A woman of purpose, a woman of purpose. That one actually was an area we expected her to discuss, but I know through the conversation we've had, we certainly know that she has had a purpose driving her life throughout all the stages, and it has brought her this far. I would like to thank all the viewers. I would like to specifically thank Civic Space for this opportunity that we have. Civic Space TV is a new TV that is going to help us to amplify the voice of women, people in Uganda and across the region. Thank you so much for hosting us this evening, and thank you to our partners, our teams out there that are making it possible for this to be here, as well as Royal Suits here in Bugolobi, where we are hosting this show, and many other people that are supportive to this program. For now, we sign out. This has been Woman Arise, and I am your host, Monicah Amoding. Shalom.